I hope everyone has had a very awesome day. And yeah, let's get into it. So, yes, again, my name is Sunshine. All right, I am the Sunshine Goddess. Okay, you see the title. But yes, you guys, it is Thursday, July 23rd. Okay, it is Leo season. All right. And yeah, let's talk about what is going on. It is a lot going on right now when it comes to a lot of cases and trials going on. It is just a lot. Okay, your girl has a lot of information that she wants to talk about in these YouTube streets. Okay. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel, okay? Give me a thumbs up. I really would appreciate it. All right, it's a quick and easy way to support your girl. Okay, it's free. Most importantly, it's free. Okay, yeah, now let's get into it because I don't have much battery life on my phone. So let's start with the David case, right? Or the D4vd case. All right, so if you don't know, his trial is like in the preliminary stages right now. So the both sides are gathering information so they can see how far they're going to take this information, or what information they're going to accept into the trial, and how the trial is going to be handled and things of that nature, right? So allegedly there may be another suspect, a second suspect in this case that David may have had help him somehow with the Celeste, maybe with the removal of the body or something. We don't know. Okay, it's just some talk going around. All right. So what we do know that came out today in the preliminary trial, right, is that David and Celeste both had each other's name on one of their fingers and on their ring finger. So Celeste had David's name on her ring finger, which was missing when her body was found. And on her pointer finger, she had shh tattooed right here or right here. Either one. It was shh, I guess SHHH, shh. So shh, and David's name on her ring finger, going down like on one of these sides, that side or the other side, right? Now, what we found out, because no one has told this information nowhere. I haven't heard this in all this time. We found out that Celeste was missing, and then we found out she was deceased. No one else has talked about this. So Celeste's ring finger allegedly had David's name on it going down the side, and had shh on her pointer finger. Well, y'all, guess what we found out today? David has the name Celeste tattooed on his ring finger, and has shh tattooed on his pointer finger. Did y'all hear what I just said? No one else has been talking about that information. That is huge. Okay, so we know that David cannot say that he does not know Celeste. So I think where his team of lawyers, where they're going to push this case to, I think they're going to push this case more towards he didn't know she was underage, because they both had each other's name tattooed on their finger, and they both had shh tattooed on the pointer finger. You can't make this up. This is crazy. Okay? And another tidbit of information that we did not know before today. Okay? Y'all ready for this one? Not only did allegedly 2 chainsaws get delivered to his home, but it was three chainsaws that was delivered to his home. Now, I don't remember hearing about a third chainsaw at all. I heard it was two chainsaws, a body bag, a pool, and that's what I can remember right now. Okay, there were three chainsaws that were ordered, and only two chainsaws came up or appeared. And they said those chainsaws looked like they didn't have any evidence, like they were unused. So there's a third chainsaw somewhere that probably was used, and we can't find it. Or I'm sorry, like I'm on the team, okay? And they can't find it. They don't know where that third chainsaw is and what evidence that may be on that chainsaw. Y'all hear what I'm saying? And another thing, y'all, that we did not know before today is the body bag that was ordered and delivered to David's home has not been found. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? The chainsaw has not been found, and the body bag has not been found. And David had Celeste's name, or has Celeste's name, tattooed on the inside of his finger, and has tattooed on the inside of the pointer finger. And Celeste had David's name tattooed on the inside of her ring finger, and tattooed on the inside of her pointer finger. Okay, so they were twinning. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah, crazy work. And the case is showing that they have down to the second David's moves around that time, when Celeste's body was found, I guess like a month or two before they found her body. They have narrowed it down to seconds, okay, of when he left his home, when he went to Santa Monica. I believe in Santa Monica is where the police found Celeste's passport and some of her other things. They believe David went there twice. They have evidence to prove that he went there twice, because they could track your phone data and his vehicle, his Tesla. They have data that proved that he went there twice, and they got it down to the second. Okay, how long it took him to get there, how long he stayed there, when he went back home, everything. Crazy work. And they're believing that it was a second a second suspect that may have helped David get rid of some evidence, or helped him when it came to this whole Celeste situation. And I was wondering, like, dad, can one person do all this by themselves? But how sloppy the case is, the body in the trunk of his car, it made me feel like, nah, he did that all by himself. But they said today during the trial, the preliminary trial, that they believe her body was in the back seat first and then got moved to the trunk, because they were able to find traces of her body in the back seat of the car. So we know that clearly she was moved a good bit. Crazy work. Just crazy. What's up, everyone? Thank you so much for joining my live stream. I really do appreciate it. Okay, y'all come on in. If you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. I really, really would appreciate it. All right. Yes, so I'm talking about the David and Celeste case. And Celeste's parents have been in the preliminary hearing, at the preliminary hearing every day. They been in there upset, of course, about the images they've been showing. Of course, who wouldn't be? You know, it has to be real tough to go through that and to not know what happened to your daughter, you know. Which brings me to the second case that I wanted to talk about, which is the Nolan Wells case. Y'all, if you don't know, there is a guy who is Officer Tatum. He has did an interview with this Warren dude who's supposed to be a pal, a buddy, good old buddy pal of Nolan Wells. He said that him, Nolan, and another guy, they all spent the night together the day before July 4th. He said he left and went to get stuff for the boat, for the trip, and went to McDonald's. And then he met them back out. He met them out there on Horn Island where they all went, and where they were celebrating, where Nolan body ended up appearing. And then he said Nolan was there then. He said Nolan was on the boat. He was off the boat. Pretty much, he said Nolan was with this girl. And then he kept trying to get Nolan to get back on the bus when the whole situation happened where they thought the boat was going to drown or sink or something. And Nolan wouldn't get on the boat. He said, y'all go ahead. So rumor has it that allegedly this supposed girl is saying that Nolan didn't stay with her. He left with them. And then they are saying that Nolan stayed with her. So it's a lot of back and forth, back and forth. And it's a lot of people on social media like, well, what happened? And why are y'all accusing these young boys? They were his friends. Why are y'all accusing these young boys? Because somebody seen something. Okay? And the Warren guy, he said that it was at least 300 people out there, possibly more than that. Okay, so somebody seen something. It wasn't that many black people where you're not going to see where the black boy went. You think about it, right? A whole bunch of black people and one or two or three white people. They going to stick out like a sore thumb. People going to be watching them just because they stick out like a sore thumb. In my opinion, I don't care how much alcohol you done been drinking, you know. And then, of course, Warren did have to say that, you know, he was drinking. Well, anyway, let's talk about the autopsy and the results that was found for Nolan. Okay, so Nolan's body was, autopsy was done on Nolan's body with the original medical examiner in Mississippi, right, where he's from. And that when the second autopsy or medical examiner was paid or whatever, arranged to do an autopsy on Nolan's body, he requested Nolan's body to be sent to him to Washington, D.C. That's the medical examiner that Colin Kaepernick paid for. If you don't know, the ex-football player Colin Kaepernick paid for the family to get this medical examiner who is in Washington, D.C. to do a thorough, okay, of the most high autopsy to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. Well, the medical examiner that was in Washington, D.C., who performed the autopsy on Nolan Wells' body, said that he couldn't determine the cause of death because all of Nolan's body parts did not come with his body. And Nolan Wells' body was delivered to him face down. Are y'all hearing me? Why the hell did Mississippi send this boy body to Washington, D.C. face down? Make that make sense. When they started sending the bodies face down, that seems suspicious to me. Anyway, the medical examiner in Washington, D.C., he also said, okay, that Nolan Wells' trachea was missing and his lungs were missing. So he couldn't verify if there was some strangulation, if there was some type of constriction to his throat. We don't know if he was strangled. Okay? We don't know if there was some type of pressure that was put on his throat, because the medical examiner didn't have his throat. Mississippi detached it from his body and did not send it with his body when they sent his body face down to Washington. And they did not send his lungs to Washington so that the medical examiner can determine if he drowned, because you need the lungs to find out if that person drowned. You can't determine if a person drowned if you don't see if they have water in their lungs. The lungs were missing. The medical examiner in Mississippi did not send all of Nolan Wells' body parts with his body, which again was face down when the medical examiner received him, did not send all his body parts. Now, you tell me that don't sound suspicious. You tell me that sounds normal to you when you know that the family has had someone else to pay out of their pocket for a medical exam to be performed on their child, okay? To find out what happened to their child, and you don't send all of the body parts with the body so that a medical examiner can do their job? To me, sounds very suspect. Sounds like you're hiding something. So apparently now the FBI has got involved, and hopefully they will take over this case so we can get some answers. Now, the medical examiner in Washington, D.C., he did say that the body was severely decomposed. So a lot of stuff he couldn't see. So his skin tone, his complexion had a lot of decomposition. Is that right? Decomposition? And so he wasn't able to see markings that would have been on the body. And the original medical examiner didn't send any pictures or anything. They just sent the body, missing parts, and face down to the second medical examiner. Okay? Which is crazy. And if you didn't hear that I mentioned yesterday, the back part of Nolan's head right here, in a big triangle from one side of his head to the other, up under his skull, has a whole big block of redness there. And the medical examiner couldn't determine what happened to the head there up under the skull because the back of his head was decomposed. Mind you, Mississippi medical examiner sent Nolan's body to Washington, D.C. face down. So that tells me that they wanted to make sure that part of the head had some more, was able to decompose, so the evidence would, be tainted. Crazy work. Crazy work. So forget what you heard about, they're blaming these young white boys. They're blaming them. They were his friends. Baby, something happened to this boy, okay? And I want answers as if he was my damn child. I want some answers. How could you not want answers in a situation like this? I don't care who that child was. I would want answers. Okay, white, black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. Wouldn't you want answers? Don't you feel like the parents deserve to know what happened to their child? Crazy work. Crazy work to me. And then the family's being harassed, everyone's being harassed, no answers are being given to the family, so they're grieving and not even knowing what their child experienced, how their child passed away. They have to grieve the fact that their child is not here and don't even know how he suffered or what happened to him when he passed away. Was he hurt? Was he in need of them? Was he calling out their name? Like, I can't even imagine. I don't want to imagine. But we hear this story, and if you have a heart, it's like how you can't understand why the family would call in reinforcements like Ben Crump and Al Sharpton, because they want answers. If this happened to your child, wouldn't you want answers? So, yeah, crazy work. Anyway, so that officer Tatum, he did an interview with the Warren guy, and Warren told him that he contacted Nolan's mom around 10 or 11 p.m. that same night. Okay, so this what happened. All right. So the 4th of July, they all got to Horn Allen, right? And Warren said when he got there, it was a whole bunch of people there. It was probably 300 people or more. He said boats was wrapped around the whole island. And he said him and all his friends, including Nolan, came there on 2 boats. So some was in one boat, some was in the other boat. So he said he wasn't able to bring his boat out. He went out on someone else's boat, and Nolan came with him and all their other friends, right? So he said this was around 10 a.m. they got to Horn Island. And then he said around 4 p.m. they left Horn Island, and they were trying to get Nolan to get back on the boat, but he said, no, I'm staying with the chick that he was with. And Warren said that he was all cuddled up with the girl. And he said, when you're out there, no one's thinking about their cell phone. Everyone's drinking, having a good time. No one's thinking about a cell phone. So he's saying it makes sense why Nolan wouldn't have his cell phone. So he said around 4 o'clock, the friend's boat started to show signs of like flooding around the battery area. So they contacted the people to possibly come help tow the boat. But he said they end up getting the boat out of that area, and they left because Nolan didn't want to leave. And then they left. They made a stop somewhere to try to fix the boat, and then they headed in. Because if you've been watching or following this case, the boat was tracked, and there was a stop before it landed and reached its stopping point. There was a stop that was made that wasn't long at all. All right. And then he said, so once the boat got to its destination, he said they went home, took a nap, then went to a friend's pool party. And it's not the pool party that you're seeing floating around with Nolan, because he did identify that pool party where Nolan's in the pool and he kind of got his back towards and he's looking back like that. And they took a picture. Warren said that picture was taken 2 weeks prior to the 4th of July house party. So Warren said, after they got up from their nap, they all took a nap. Then they went to another friend's house, his girlfriend's house. Yeah, he said they went to his girlfriend's house. And then they all stayed there. They partied. They played in the pool. He said that he was there talking to the girl's dad the whole time about his boat. And then they went home. And then he realized, hey, where's Nolan? No one's heard from Nolan. So he said he called who Who do you call? He said he called the, who do you, I forgot. He called the people, who are like the Marine people, the National Guard, not the National Guard, something like that. He called somebody because that was his first instinct. And then he called Nolan's mom. And he said he called her the first time, she didn't answer. The second time she answered. And he said he asked her, had she seen Nolan? And she said no, she hadn't seen Nolan. And he said he just was checking because he hadn't seen Nolan all day. And he said that she was like, he believed she contacted the National Guard or something. Anyway, whoever the Marine people are. Coast Guard. Coast Guard. That's what it is. I think it was the Coast Guard. I don't know. Anyway, y'all watch the video. It's on Officer Tatum's YouTube channel. So he said he called them, then Nolan's mom called them, and then he said he hadn't heard anything else he hadn't talked to her anymore after that night right there. But he said when he woke up the next day, everyone was concerned. They were worried. They still wasn't able to find Nolan. And then, of course, they got the news later on that Nolan had been found. And Officer Tatum asked him, well, why did you think about contacting the Coast Guard or whoever that was, y'all? The Marine people that go out there into the ocean and stuff to look for bodies and stuff. He said because people pass away out there all the time. And I was wondering, like, why he didn't ask him how many friends have he lost out there on the water, because that would have been real interesting to me, because he's saying people get lost out there, or people show up, people drown out there all the time, and you're going to leave your friend out there. Matter of fact, you go out there with your friend at 10 a.m. and then around 11 p.m. is when you think about him again. I find that very suspect, talking about your friend. I'll be thinking about my friend all day. I'll be like, where Nolan at? I'll be saying that all day if that was my friend. But he didn't think about Nolan until around almost 11 p.m. that night. And then to me, he didn't seem sympathetic. He didn't really seem like he was a friend of Nolan. Officer Tatum asked him how long had he known Nolan. He said he known Nolan ever since 8th grade. So I'm thinking, if he knew Nolan ever since 8th grade, and he's saying this is a good friend of his, and then he told Officer Tatum that he had never met Nolan's mom, but he met Nolan's dad once upon a time. And he said, like, you know, he just met him, or he said Nolan's dad was just there. So he didn't really meet Nolan's dad or mom. The mom had never seen him, but the dad may have seen him, you know, when he went to pick up Nolan or something like that. To me, that don't sound like a good friend. How many people out here got children? Y'all hear me? Y'all got children, right? Do you know your 8th grader? Your child is in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. Do you know they're good friends? Wouldn't your child want to go hang out with their good friends? Wouldn't you know that child? At least that child, even if you don't know the parents, you're going to at least know the child that he hanging around. You're going to meet him when you go to drop Nolan off, when you go to pick Nolan up. Because Warren said they always hung out at his house. Now, I've had so-called friends who would never come to my house, but I always had to go to their house when I was in middle school and high school. And I never considered them real good friends, especially now. It was just some place to go if I wanted to get out the house. But my good friends knew my family. How can you not know my family? You make that make sense. So yeah, I kind of find that hard to believe, that this is a good friend of Nolan who don't even know Nolan's mama. Okay? How you don't know your friend mama? The mama gonna cook. She gonna drop the child off. She gonna drop both of y'all off somewhere, okay, to have a good time or do something. Prom, okay, around prom time. When your child went to prom, didn't you get to know the friends and the parents of the friends? Like, stuff just ain't adding up to me. It's just a lot of information that doesn't make sense. And the fact that Officer Tatum only interviewed Warren, one person, versus a group. And Officer Tatum said that he didn't interview a group of people, a group of friends, because a lot of the friends were scared because they were getting a lot of hate from the public. So they didn't want to be interviewed. And I was thinking, shouldn't he have interviewed that girl that Nolan was supposedly hanging around? Why are we interviewing Warren if Nolan was with this chick? Why are we not interviewing her? But I don't know. Just seems very strange to me. And I know that one of Warren's friends, stepmom, is a judge, okay, who probably have given a lot of those boys a lot of legal advice. Stay away from this person, because those boys, either that same day Nolan's body came up or the next day, they shut off all their social media accounts. They talked to a lawyer, y'all. All right. Anyway, my phone is about to die, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, like they say. I shouldn't have said that, right? I don't know. I don't mean no harm. Okay, rest in peace, Nolan Wells, and all the other young men who were found dead or who passed away on July 4th, and each and every day. Everyone all around the world, male, female, young, old, whoever, rest in power. And, if you're going through or grieving the loss of someone, my heart goes out to you as well. Y'all know I've experienced that twice, okay? So, well, not only twice, 3 times, okay? But, yeah, so when I hear stuff like this, it kind of pisses me off, because I didn't see no signs of the boy feeling guilty. And I'm just like, I'm looking for something like a head, just have your head down, like, wow, I just don't know. Something that make me feel like, oh, you care. That boy, if y'all watch that video, that guy Warren, he talked more about his boat or boats and fixing certain problems on the boats than he talked about Nolan in the whole 3-part interview. Okay? But anyway, you guys, like I said, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up if you appreciate this content. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit that bell so you can be notified when I go live. Talk to me in the comment section, okay? Let's have a whole conversation. It's your girl, Sunshine. I hope you guys have an awesome